Привет, друзья, and welcome to Start Russian. And in today's video, we'll talk about the nominative case. And to be completely honest, there is not much to talk about in regards to the nominative case because, it's so easy, it's so basic. But, after all, it is one of the six Russian cases, and I thought there should be at least one video about it on my channel. So the nominative case is basically the dictionary case, the base case, and it's basically your starting point when it comes to learning Russian cases. And the reason it's so easy is because it doesn't really take any additional endings that you have to memorize like for the other five cases. Because whenever you take a word like a noun or an adjective in Russian in the base form, that is already the nominative case. So for example, if you look up the word house in a dictionary, or you simply type it in Google Translate, just the word house without any additional context, it will show you its base nominative dictionary form, which is going to be dom. So the good news is that when you start learning Russian cases and there are six cases, you can pretty much cross the nominative case out, and basically you only have to worry about five. But the nominative case does not only exist for dictionaries. We actually do use it in speech, as we speak or write. And in this video, I'll tell you about the three uses of the nominative case in actual conversation or writing. And use number one is simply naming something, which actually makes perfect sense because the word nominative comes from the Latin word nomen, which means name. For example, this is a house. In Russian, это дом. So dom would be in the nominative case. Or this is a car. Это машина. Again, the word машина, car, would be in the nominative case. Use number two is when it's the subject of the sentence. For example, you say the house is big, right? The word house in this case would be the subject. So in Russian, you would simply say дом большой. And again, the word дом is in the nominative case. Or for example, the car works well, right? The car, again, is the subject. And in Russian, it would be машина работает хорошо. And the word машина, of course, is in the nominative case. And use number three is actually the one that occasionally causes some confusion. So it's actually probably useful for me to address it in this video. And that is using nominative after the phrase I have, which in Russian is у меня есть. Or actually whoever has, right? You have, у тебя есть, he has, у него есть, and so on. That doesn't matter. And the reason it causes some confusion is because у меня есть would translate into I have in English. And you might assume that, I have should be followed by the accusative case, right? Because I have something. So that sounds like it's a direct object. And that would actually be true if we literally did say I have. But the thing is that in Russian, у меня есть does not literally mean I have. What it literally means is у, which is by, меня, which is me, and then есть, which is there is. So instead of saying I have, we literally say by me there is, or in my possession there is. For example, if you say у меня есть дом, of course we will translate it as I have a house, but literally what we're saying is by me or in my possession there is a house. And that's exactly why the word dom, house, is not in the accusative case, because literally, grammatically speaking, right, you're saying there is a house in my possession, and it's not a direct object, it's actually kind of the subject of the sentence. So for example, if you say I have a car, a typical mistake that students make is they assume the car to be a direct object, right? I have what? A car. And as such, it should be put into the accusative case, which would be машину. So they say у меня есть машину, which of course is incorrect. The correct sentence would be у меня есть машина, because again, машина would be in the nominative case. And technically in Russian, we do have the word to have, which is иметь. So technically you could say я имею машину, I have a car. In which case the word car would indeed be a direct object and would be used in the accusative case. And to say я имею машину is grammatically correct, but a Russian native speaker would never say it like that, it sounds very formal and unnatural, something like, I possess a car. So we do use the verb iметь sometimes, but most of the time for, everyday situations, we just use the phrase у меня есть, which again takes the nominative case. Okay guys, I think this is everything you need to know about the nominative case. If you found this video helpful, be sure to give it a like, leave a comment, maybe if you have a question or suggestions about topics you want covered on this channel. Be sure to subscribe to my channel, Start Russian, of course. And I will see you in my next video. Thanks for watching. Спасибо и пока-пока.